Hi, this is Edward Fu Chen Huan. I go by Ed, and I'm one of the ambassadors for the BC Culture Days. And I'm here with my mentor.
My name is Bridget Pottermere, and I have been mentoring Ed since 2007. I've been focusing almost exclusively on plants, herbaceous plants. And that's what actually brought Ed and I together in terms of collaborating, because we both share this affinity for the plant life and nature in general. And how has connecting with a mentor in your field impacted your artistic practice?
Well, you're not just my mentor, you're my friend as well,
Mhm.
a close friend. We've known each other for 8 years actually.
Mhm.
So I would say it's a great impact. I struggle a lot with my artistic identity because I've done so much, and you always encourage me to include every aspect of my artistic background. And what about you? What is it like to have I impacted you in some way as a mentee?
Well, you certainly have. I mean, I think we're mentoring each other also because you have knowledge that I did not have. You have done some work with masters in preparing ink for dyeing. That's one thing. And also your enthusiasm, your rigor, and the kind of energy you bring to your work. Not that I'm slacking off, but it really helps to be, with someone who is so enthusiastic and hungry for more work.
How did I first connect with Sunny Atsu? Well, I did not have a mentor, and I didn't have an idea of who my mentor would be. I thought the idea of a mentor who was successful, who had created a positive life for themselves through art, was kind of my main focus. Nazanin was looking for a mentor whose ethnic background was from a broad spectrum First Nations. And I'm really glad that she did, because I'm finding the work I'm doing currently with Sunny is work that it's helpful for me to know that this person on the other end of the mentorship, the mentor, has a knowledge, a working knowledge, a living knowledge of what it is like to be First Nations, and to vocalize or to speak some of their truth through art. I didn't consider that that would be that important, but as I've been engaging with Sunny, I've been finding it very, very important, and I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity to work with him, and that I don't have to explain some of the things that I'm doing from a perspective of being a First Nations man in Canada.
This experience has been rewarding for me, other than like in classroom settings with, various high schools. I've never really been like a one-on-one mentor. So this has been, it's been exciting for me to be able to walk along with Damien on his path of being an artist. I don't really see myself as someone who's above, or I don't see Damien as someone below. I just see us on the same level. And I think what's interesting about Damien's work and his thoughts and what he's looking at through the work that he wants to make and the conversations that he's having is that I was having those same thoughts 10, 15 years ago, and I was working through them slowly and seeing how my work has evolved over those 10 to 15 years, and seeing someone like Damien come along and want to have those same conversations that are still relevant today is interesting and important, because we always assume that through the span of time we progress as a society, but we're looking now about what's been going on in this dumpster fire of a year called 2020. But a lot of the things that he's talking about in terms of the residential schools and talking to his father and exploring the language of the Indian Act and Canada's history towards Indigenous peoples is really relevant right now. And I just see it as fundamentally important to engage with him on these levels and to help, give him a bit of a push and to, like I said, to walk alongside of him on his path of being an artist and, work through his ideas, give him some new insight and perspective. And it's really encouraging for me to hear that I've helped you grow as an artist and think outside your prescribed box of what you've been doing on your own for this long, and to see you branch out and attack these new mediums and these new technologies and just go with it has been truly inspiring for me as an artist as well.
I have been lucky enough to be paired up with local legend Rob Buchanan as my mentor for BC Culture Days.
I'm Rob Buchanan, and I'm an artist in Revelstoke. And some of the disciplines that I'm an artist, designer, cartoonist, photographer. I've been a professional artist for about 25 years. And how I met you probably is I saw your art first. And then mostly I think we got to know each other really well during the first Luna, which was 4 years ago, when you were working with a collective building this amazing brain that you pedaled a bike and it lit up. And then over the last few years, we've had tons of opportunities to keep bouncing ideas off each other, and mostly for outdoor installation artwork. And I'm a huge fan of your work. I think it's super fresh, and it has kind of this edgy street part to it, a little bit guerrilla, but still based in like really good traditional skills and classical work too. So I'm totally stoked to see what you pull off in the next 5 years in Revelstoke, 10 years in Revelstoke.
I cannot tell you how I appreciate Rob's feedback, his way of pushing my ideas a little further, exploring avenues I would have never thought of. The cool thing about Rob is that he can spice up any art projects with the most simple ideas.
So Molly and I first connected via a colleague of ours, a shared colleague in Victoria, Michael Shimada, and we actually first met after a show that I was performing in and helped create. And I just felt like from the very beginning we had a really transparent dialogue, and from there I've tried to just return back to her goals in all of our conversations. So something we've been exploring together throughout this mentorship has been what happens when a project changes. So Molly had challenges in finding some of the folks that she was hoping to find for the project. And so, the parameters of a project changing is something that often happens when art making. And so a conversation that we return to again and again has been, how do you have something that you're proud of that speaks to the core of what you're looking to explore in an ever-shifting landscape, so without compromising your artistic hopes and values. So that was something that we continue to really nut away at as the piece developed.
And I'd say the other big thing that Anita has taught me is the word pivot. How do you pivot? That word, I think I'll carry with me the rest of. I knew the word beforehand. Like I technically knew what it meant, but how do you meaningfully pivot? So that has been something that I have really taken with me.
Like going back to your idea of the lack of role models, I completely understand. I feel like a lot of the times I have to puzzle together my role model from bits from someone and bits from someone, to get together something that resembles to the experience that I'm having. Yeah. So I am incredibly fortunate to be able to talk and befriend like an idol, like literally someone that is an immigrant Latin American woman, a writer that just uses their words to be 120% themselves. And I love how you described writing as a social event, because it is. I completely see where you're coming from, as in the sense that we don't write out of nowhere. We're writing from experiences, we're writing from a collective. And sharing that bits, like those bits of individual experiences, just make us realize that we have a whole community backing up our words. So I know that I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to communicate on the regular with someone that is literally a role model for me.